Tell Me About It is brought to you by Don Franklin Auto of Glasgow and Extreme Health Club.
Trevent Hayes, KY Sports TV.
James Brown, 104 The Score. Back here on Glasgow EPB Channel 6, the local channel, and on the Glasgow EPB YouTube channel for Tell Me About It.
James, I just wanted to let you know that you did a really good job without me being here last week.
I don't know how I got through it, man. I was sweating bullets, but luckily we had some good guests on and tackled some local issues. You can still find that on the EPB YouTube channel if you want to go back and watch that one from last week. We had Chris Jennings and then a couple of folks from the Glasgow Parks and Recreation on, and so we learned a lot about local youth sports going on in the spring and in the area.
I actually watched you live on Thursday.
Did you?
I did.
I didn't watch me live. I was at a basketball game.
I watched you. I was a little under the weather.
Yeah.
Still not all the way 100%, but I feel a lot better than I did.
Yeah. I was at the girls' 15th District Championship game between Barron County and Glasgow. Barron ended up winning the game by 8. I think it was 35-27 was the final, but it was a tight game. Pretty much through about midway of the third quarter, and then Abby Varney caught fire. And then I've got a little interview with her. Abby, you guys played Glasgow twice during the regular season and beat them pretty handily both times. From your perspective, what was different in this game?
I don't think our mindset was where it should have really been. Glasgow really wanted it. Glasgow was ready to fight. I don't really think that we were ready to fight, but in that second half we switched it. We got it. We got our mindset right, and we were ready to go and fight.
And then I think you scored all the points in the fourth quarter, maybe except for a couple of free throws. What kind of clicked for you there in that fourth quarter?
Well, my team was down. I mean, that's enough said. If my team's down, I want to do everything in my power that I can to get us back up and to get us that W.
You hit a shot, I think, late in the third quarter. Did you feel after you made that shot? Because, I don't know if you hit a shot before then.
Yeah.
When you hit that shot, did you feel like to yourself, okay, I think I'm going to start making some shots now?
Yeah, I was ready to go after that. It's a little pump, Yeah, I was ready.
Were they doing anything differently on defense against you through the course of the game that kind of forced you to struggle a little bit?
I think it was just, box and one. Every team's boxed and won me, so it's just something that I have to get used to, something that I have to prepare myself for and get ready throughout district, but throughout region, because I just got to prepare.
You think you're going to see that more?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does it feel to win the district title?
It's good. This is our 6th peat, so we're making history at Barron County, so it feels good.
All right. Anything else you want people to know?
No, I'm good.
All right. She scored 18 of 22 in the second half. My daughter was at the game with me, and in the third quarter, she had 4 free throws in the first half, so she didn't have a field goal in the first half. All right. So my daughter was at the game with me, and we were watching. I was shooting photos, and she hit a shot and got fouled and made the free throw. And I told my daughter, I said, this might be over, because you could see the light come on in her eyes. And she lit it up after that and pretty much took control of the fourth quarter. I think she had all of Barron's points except for where she assisted on a layup. And then I think there were a couple of foul shots that somebody else had. So she had a big game. Barron ended up winning their 6th consecutive district title. On the upside for the Lady Scotties, they only had the 3 seniors. And they were important, but they've got a really young team. And so they got that experience of playing in the district final and then playing Monday night in the regional first round.
I was at the 18th District tournament last week.
Yep.
Girls, Hart pretty much did what they wanted to do against Caverna.
Yeah.
Then Greene County beat LaRue.
Mm-hmm.
In the boys, it was the same. LaRue played Hart, and it was actually a closer game than what was anticipated.
I think they ended up winning by about 15. Oh, was it only 8?
Yes.
It was only 8? Okay.
Yes. I'm sorry. That was 15. That was in the championship game. And then Greene beat Caverna, which was a big surprise. Mm-hmm. But Hart, Dia Bradley, hit a game-winning shot in the finals against Greene County. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm a Dia Bradley fan. big time players make big time plays.
Yeah.
And she definitely did that. And LaRue only beat Greene County by 8 in the championship game.
Yes.
And I think they said that, it was a lot closer than an 8-point game. So Hart County actually the girls advanced to the region, and they beat E-Town last night.
Yep.
Trailed the whole game into the last minute and 50 seconds, I think, and came back and won. So that's where we are in the 5th region.
Yeah. Back to that 18th district, two things. One is in that LaRue Hart County boys game, I think it was about a 15-point difference the final was. But it was really only like a 7-point game with about 4 or 5 minutes ago.
It was Hart County actually led in that game a couple of times.
Yeah, so going into that district, LaRue had been basically 20 points better than everybody during the regular season. But these tournaments, coaches come up with schemes. And if folks recall, when we had Steve Barker on and we were talking about getting ready for the district tournament, he was discussing the fact that you might actually zone LaRue or do something of that nature and allow them to have the middle of the floor and cover the shooters.
Yep.
And that way you're giving up 2s because they're going to score instead of the 3s. And now you can kind of match that 2 for 2 instead of going 2 for 3 against them. And I don't know if that's what people ended up doing, if both Hart and Greene tried to follow that strategy in the tournament, or if LaRue just was a little colder shooting in the tournament.
And in that boys draw, Greene County was the runner-up in the 18th district tournament. I feel like they got the best draw of anybody.
Yeah.
They're opposite of LaRue and Washington and Taylor.
Yeah, the 3 favorites coming into
Are
the season.
all in the bottom bracket.
Yeah.
So Greene has, I thought that Greene would have a legitimate chance to maybe make it to the finals. But after seeing Bardstown beat Washington in the finals, Boo Brewer, Coach Brewer has won, I don't know, 9. I don't want to say a number, but he's won several district tournaments in a row. And he was definitely not the favorite. Washington was the favorite. So you never know what to expect out of Coach Brewer and the Bardstown Tigers.
He always cooks up something, doesn't
he? The year that you think they're down, they come back and win the district, and now they have a chance to make it to the finals of the region.
One thing that he always has, I always kind of liken Bardstown and Glasgow when it comes to sports in a lot of ways, because you'll have guys who are football players. They play other sports. They may play basketball, and what Brewer has done at Bardstown through the years is taking advantage of knowing he's got these guys. They're always good at track. They always have some of the best track athletes in the state. And
pause for 1 second. I tell all the kids that I coach in football, all your D1 football specialty players, running backs, DBs, receivers, they all run track.
Yeah.
And if you look at those programs, the highlight kids on most of those programs are also competitors in the state, track meets.
Right. So that's what you look at what he does. He takes those guys. He doesn't always have basketball players, but he has guys he can put out on the floor.
Athletes.
They'll run you. They'll cause you a lot of problems. They'll cause a lot of chaos and take advantage of those situations. And in certain circumstances, it doesn't always work, but a lot of times it does work for him. And you kind of look, going back to the Glasgow side of things, that's kind of what I feel like William Buford is doing at Glasgow. He grew up in Glasgow, he recognizes a lot of guys don't just play basketball, they play football, they may run track, they may do other things. Let me take these dudes and put them out there, I'll teach them what I want them to do, and then we're going to try to make it as chaotic as possible. And I thought what happened last week in that 15th district tournament between them and Warren East. Warren East clearly has the best basketball player in that game in Isaiah Andrews. And in the first half, it was kind of everything was going Warren East's way. Glasgow ends up getting down by 15. And then they just kind of turned up the intensity, the chaos factor, and forced some turnovers and got some baskets and had some chances to get the lead. They just couldn't quite execute the plays down the stretch and ended up losing the game by 2. And so, it was kind of as a comparison to, if you want to know what I think Buford's kind of aiming toward, look what Brewer's done at Bardstown through the years.
Yep.
And that's what I think we could possibly see as we go forward in that program. one other thing I want to talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about last week, just because of the timing of the games. Well, we did get a chance to talk about it, but I kind of wanted to go back and highlight it again, was that game-winning shot by Addie Slagle in the first round of the 15th.
Seventh grader.
Yeah, seventh grader.
Seventh grader.
And my favorite part about the whole thing is your senior, Mia Cassidy. They double team her. They call the play. They know what's going to happen. She gives it up to the seventh grader. She gets in the, like basically at the foul line, shoots the jumper, hits it. And, you know, that was their goal this year, was to try to get a district win, get to that regional tournament. Because Mia Cassidy's freshman year, they got to play at Diddle. But she just came in and would shoot some. It was a older team at that particular point in time. The next year, Ainsley Adwell's, I think, senior year, they didn't get to play at Diddle because they played the first round games at host sites. So it was at Franklin Simpson. They ended up losing that game, I'd say controversially, as I recall. And so I'm not the only one. I think some people in Franklin feel that way too. They got away with one in that game. But you know, so that was a good thing. And then I had a post-game interview with the three seniors and Kelsey Kirkpatrick after the game against Bowling Green. And I enjoyed the discussion they had between the coach and the players, talking about the relationship they had with her, because she's been the assistant the other 3 years they were in high school.
And you know, it's after watching Bowling Green and Glasgow last night and watching Metcalf and Logan, you know, it's been Bowling Green and Barron County. Mm-hmm. You know, it's pretty much controlled the region for the last probably 12 years.
Yeah.
But now I think that it's going to shift to Glasgow and Metcalf County. They've got the two youngest teams in the tournament.
That's true.
And they're talented kids. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss the first round of the girls' fourth region tournament.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Extreme Fitness has doubled in size, now with over 8,000 square feet of co-ed weights and an upgraded 90-degree saline therapy pool. The Extreme Fitness campus also holds the exclusive Extreme Fitness for Women complex and Extreme Blend smoothie bar. You have to experience the variety of classes to realize the impact they have on their clients. Personal training is with the best in the business and is available and tailored to fit individuals. So start your journey today at Extreme Fitness and Health Club.
All right, we're back, and before we get into this girls' fourth regional tournament, you know, every year for the last, even when I had stepped away from doing some of the sports stuff, I always put my predictions on social media. Mm-hmm. So Sunday, I
Sucker for punishment.
no, I love it. I love it. And, you know, but I always tell everybody, hey, these are my predictions. It's nothing personal. It's just what I feel.
Yeah.
You know, Sunday I went with Russellville. Mm-hmm. And I went with Barron.
Yeah.
Last night I went with Bowling Green.
Yep.
And I went with Metcalf.
All good choices.
All good choices. So I'm going to be a little more controversial for Friday night's games.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Russellville over Barron County.
All right. I'm going to ask you to explain this to me here in a little bit.
I will explain it to you.
But go ahead.
I'm going to go with Russellville over Barron, and I'm going to go with, you know, I have to go with Metcalf upset in Bowling Green.
All right.
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
All right, we'll start with that one because I'll save your punishment for the.
It's not going to be punishment. It's not going to be punishment. Metcalf County Lady Hornets. I have faith in you. The thing that I liked from the Metcalf County game, from their team, is they have shooters.
Yeah.
They have young ladies that can put the ball in the basket from beyond the arc.
Yep.
And before the game, yesterday. We discussed maybe the depth perception of playing on a college floor. Jolly comes out.
Yeah, it didn't affect her at all.
And didn't hit the rim her first 3 shots.
Yeah. Because it was all net.
Bowling Green is the best team in the region.
Yeah.
But during that Glasgow game, I saw a few things that if Glasgow hit some shots, it could have been a closer game.
Yeah.
Glasgow, I think in the first half, they only hit 2 shots in the whole first half.
Yeah, they shot 17%, I think, in the first half.
Yes. And if you allow Metcalfe County to have those shots, and they make those shots, it's a different ballgame.
So, I've got 2 counter arguments for you.
I'm ready.
All right. The first one is in the post-game interview with Coach Coleman and the players. They were equally shocked that those shots went in.
Okay.
So I mean, I think that was it was an abnormality, and it is an abnormality because actually Logan hit shots early too in that game. So that was good. So you think, well, you got that game out of the way, and now you're good. You know how it looks, and you know where the 3-point line is because there's 2 of them.
And one's crooked.
And one, it didn't look crooked, didn't it? And one that they taped down for the ice ball did look a little crooked.
Yes.
So that part, you would think is out of the way, and that's fine.
Okay.
I would argue on the flip side that one of the reasons Glasgow shot 17% is because trying to compensate not for the floor, but for the length of the closeout from the Bowling Green players on your shooters.
Okay.
And that's the deal, all right?
Okay.
They close out. They're longer than most teams you're going to play during the course of the season. They close out a lot quicker than a lot of folks do because, first of all, Coach Head, if you're not going to close out on the shooters, he'll find somebody who will.
Right.
And so there's that. And I think that's like a big difference. So it's not just what happens is you're shooting in the sight lines of that gym. Now you might actually be taking too deep of a shot because you're worried about their ability to close out on your shot, not because you don't know where the line is.
Correct.
And so that causes you to miss shots.
Now, when we talk about length, Blythe, Allen, Metcalfe has length herself. And I think that's going to create a problem.
Well, but
because they are very active on the glass.
They are now. Well, okay, they are, but then again, they got a 6'1" mountain in there that they have to rebound against whenever they're playing Bowling Green and Meadow Tisdale.
Of course,
that changes things. But the 2 you just mentioned aren't really their outside shooters.
They're post players.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So even with if they're not hitting, they're going to have more of a rebounding presence in that game than Glasgow. And if you look at the stats, Glasgow actually out-rebounded Bowling Green in the first half, I'm almost positive.
They were dead. They were pretty much dead even. But then again, Tisdale ended up not playing much in that game overall, time-wise, because she was out after – she didn't go back in after she got hit in the mouth, right?
The game was over then.
It was over with.
Yeah,
but in the first half, I think she sat out a couple of longer stretches than she probably will against Metcalfe. I just think, to be frank with you, I kind of felt like Coach Head his press was taking care of things. Glasgow wasn't making shots. He was not in need of everything he can do.
But Metcalfe County has a few more. They're younger, but they're still more seasoned ball handlers.
Well, yeah, I mean, London has played there. Well, she's been a starter, I think, since she was like in the 6th grade.
And I think last night was probably the worst game that she's played in a while.
Oh, yeah.
But she still had a decent game. But do you think she's going to have back-to-back bad games?
I would think not. But I also think that Coach Head typically picks out your best player if they can score, and he sticks Shelton on them and dares them to do anything against her, and usually they don't.
So if you put Shelton on Cassidy, who are you going to put on Jolly?
Who are you going to? Franklin.
Okay.
Or 15. I can't think of her name, but he said she's the Bulldog.
Okay. So who are you going to put on Blythe?
I'm not worried about anybody inside. If I'm Head, I'm just letting Tisdale roam the paint and wreak havoc.
I just think
that.
Blythe played great defense on the second leading scorer in the region last night, right?
Yeah, and she's not Meadow Tisdale.
Correct. And Coach Head said it himself.
Yeah.
If it becomes a game up and down the floor, how much is that going to affect Tisdale and Bowling Green?
I don't know, because they really don't have the depth that they've historically had. And so they really are dependent a lot on those three seniors, including Bailey, that are their two Division I players. And I'm not sure where Bailey's going yet, but
Now, she's a shooter.
yeah. Now
She's a shooter.
She is sometimes, and sometimes she's not. And so, I think it could be a scrappy game. Here's the other thing, though, about the situation for Metcalf. These two teams didn't play each other this year.
Correct.
And so I'm sure Metcalf has played people who've done all kinds of things and presses and traps and all that. It's just a different animal when you're dealing with Bowling Green.
It is.
And so I'm not saying Metcalf can't beat them. I think they have the tools to do it. I'm just also saying that on the flip side, Bowling Green has to have a bad game for them. Now look, Bowling Green's
I'm a fan of the underdog.
Yeah.
Let's let that be known too. I'm a fan of the underdog, but I just think that Metcalf County has a better potential to beat Bowling Green than anybody else in the field, honestly.
Yeah, so I think they have two. Like I said, I think Metcalf has two problems. One is shooting over the closeout that Bowling Green has, and the other is not having faced a pressure situation like Bowling Green can distribute on defense across the floor.
But we will agree that it's two great coaches coaching in that game.
Yeah, I do believe they're two very good coaches, and I do believe there are two very good coaches in this other game that you've taken Russellville.
It is. I've taken Russellville over Barron County. So Barron County fans don't completely give up on me, because I'm going to take the boys to go to the finals in that bracket. But
I'll tweet out his number later so you guys can call him.
So Russellville and Barron, they played earlier.
Yep.
To my understanding, Russellville was without one of their players.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Cawthorn or Collier.
Correct, but you still,
Yeah.
it was a 5-point game, Russellville's favor, with a minute 50 to go in the game. And Barron came back and won.
Yeah.
So, a bigger stage, bigger court per se.
Yeah.
I just think that the momentum that Russellville has right now, I think they're gonna ride it till the wheels fall off.
Here's what I would say about that game. I think Russellville is a bad matchup for Barron because of the inside size. That's without Macy Lockhart, since she's gone down. That's the thing that they have not quite compensated for totally yet, is somebody inside who can rebound and defend. They're kind of using a mixture of people with Katie Gerald, and sometimes Katie Elmore winds up down there. They'll bring in Ann Ashley Atkinson to try to help out in those areas. Taylor Strange is a good shooter, but you can kind of get her in some bad matchups defensively. Now, that's the part that I think Taylor Strange could have a big game for Barron against Russellville. They may need her to have a big game, because they're not the players that she would be matched up with aren't really the ones who are going to try to take her out on the floor and beat her off the dribble and that kind of stuff, like we saw, like we've seen a couple of times. I think whenever she came in against Glasgow, that's what they did. They tried to get her matched up with somebody like Cynthia Austin. So she might have a big game. She might be the X factor for Barron in that game.
See, I think the X factor for Barron, I think the kid that has to have a flawless game is Katie Murphy.
I agree there.
Not only on offense,
Yeah.
but on Sunday, it's like a switch turned on and her defense became ferocious.
Oh, yeah.
She's physical, and we talked about her and the other kid that you mentioned. Even in softball, how
Madison Smith.
Yes, I think that Katie Murphy is going to have to score at least 10 points, and she's going to have to really put pressure on Collier.
Here's one thing I do find this fascinating: the decision the coaches make, Orlando Hayden, Piper Lindsay, about how they deal with Amaya Collier. And what I mean is, Who does Hayden have Collier defend? Is he putting her on Murphy? And then on the flip side, does Lindsay have Murphy defend Collier? And then, because all the rest of it, for Coach Hayden, what he has to do is figure out how to slow down Abby Varney. And then if they figure that out, how to handle when she becomes a screener. And that's what ended up being the big difference in the second half between Barron and Clinton County. Varney gave up scoring in order to set screens and let other people get baskets. And so now Coach Hayden's had a chance to see that, so how does he deal when they do that? But on the flip side of that, Collier on Murphy and Murphy on Collier, either one of them could get into foul trouble defending the other
Very
one.
quick, because they're both aggressive.
Yeah, and so that's going to be curious to see how that part pans out.
So
as
who's
well.
gonna? So will it? Do you think it'll match up? Do you think? Okay, so if you're Coach Hayden, who do you match up against Varney?
Well, I mean, his best bet is to put Collier on her, isn't it?
That's what I thought. So if
But
you're
then who you
if
gonna-
you're
who you gonna-
Piper, who do you have guarding Larisha Lawhorn?
I think if you are either one of these teams, and neither one of them want to do this,
You better run his own.
yep,
You got to run his own.
because actually neither one of them shoot the ball real well outside.
Nope.
And so now you're running a zone and just trying to get a body on basically Cawthorn if you're a Barron. And on the other side, if you're a Barron rebounding, you're just trying to flood there and get rebounds.
And I didn't know that she was sick in the game
Cawthorn,
Sunday.
yeah.
17 points and 20 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, it was her flu game, I guess.
But then you have the other kid. Was it Morris?
Yeah, Jordan
21?
Morris, yeah.
She had 14 rebounds.
Yeah, and she kind of ended up being the benefactor in a way, strangely enough, of people trying to get Cawthorn off the board.
Yep.
So, I mean, that like I said, it's an intriguing matchup from a fan perspective of watching these two teams play each other because of the parts how they will compete against each other. And Russellville's size is going to be a problem for Barron. I think on the flip side, Elmore, Gerald's, Smith, Atkinson, Mary Claire Warren, Taylor Strange, they all can handle the ball, which then puts defensive pressure on Russellville on the flip side.
All right. Well, we will take another short break, and when we come back, we will go over the boys' side of the fourth region.
At Don Franklin, we're more than a group of car dealerships. We're hardworking, everyday people of Kentucky. We strive daily to give 110% to our customers, our employees, and our families. We are committed to providing everyone with a safe and reliable vehicle, and we continue our tradition of supporting our local communities. At all 24 dealerships across Kentucky, we will treat you like family. Don Franklin Family of Dealerships, we are Kentucky.
Extreme Fitness has doubled in size, now with over 8,000 square feet of co-ed weights and an upgraded 90-degree saline therapy pool. The Extreme Fitness campus also holds the exclusive Extreme Fitness for Women complex and Extreme Blend smoothie bar. You have to experience the variety of classes to realize the impact they have on their clients. Personal training is with the best in the business and is available and tailored to fit individuals. So start your journey today at Extreme Fitness and Health Club.
We're back.
So tell me about this, man.
Okay.
So you've followed the 5th region through the years.
I have.
All right. And I was thinking about this. And we may have talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but it's become even more prevalent now that the 5th region tournament is tipping off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this will air on Thursday. We don't know what those first round results and that kind of stuff are going to be.
Right.
They start Tuesday, Wednesday, I think. Is that
Correct.
the boys? So, historically speaking, and when I say historically speaking, I'm going back, I think probably 20, 25 years. Probably since John Harden opened, about 1994, 95, somewhere in that window. Is that when it opened? That to win the boys region, 5th region, you had to go through the 17th district. It didn't matter. It was North Hardin, it was Elizabethtown, it was John Hardin. maybe in the 80s, even Fort Knox had a good basketball team. I don't know.
Yeah, Troy Smith.
Well,
Played at Louisville. Yeah, they did.
All right. So, and then Central Hardin, has had some good runs there. This year is the one that's been different. And I just find that fascinating that in the preseason polls, none of those teams, I think, were in the top 5. I think it was, Washington County,
It's Washington, Taylor,
LaRue. I think Bethlehem was in the preseason top 5, boys' side. They may have been number 5, if I remember correctly, which I was shocked by that.
It was Washington, Taylor, LaRue. E-Town was still there.
Were they in the
E-Town
top
was
5?
there. They were. And
I swear the 5th one was Bethlehem.
I don't know if it was Bethlehem or Adair.
It may have been either one of those. It could have been either one of those. And so I remember looking at that time and thinking to myself, well, it'll just be chalk at the end. Then we get to the way the bracket works out, and you get Taylor, LaRue, and Washington all on the same side.
All in the same
And
bracket.
of course, I guess Washington's playing Taylor to start with. Is that the way it works out?
Washington is playing Taylor in the first round.
Yeah. So I should put it in past tense now. Has played. And so then what happens is on the top side of the bracket,
You've got Bardstown playing Green.
Yeah.
And E-Town and Adair.
Well, and the way I looked at it, I thought to myself, once again, we could have E-Town. I'm not saying they will be. You could have them in the region final and even win the region, because in one game in a tournament, anything can happen. And so for none of those to be the best teams, because I think E-Town lost to LaRue and Taylor this year, did they? I know they lost to LaRue. And then, so you get to this 5th region tournament final and you're like, we wind up maybe with the same team winning this tournament or from that same district in a year when it shouldn't have happened that way, but the tournament draw kind of worked it out so that it was going to work out that way.
It wouldn't surprise me if Bardstown didn't win the region.
Yeah, me neither.
And
See our
I
prior
just don't
discussion.
think that LaRue is going to shoot it as good as they need to every night. And
Where's the boys tournament?
it's at Hart.
What is that gym like as a shooting gym? Well, obviously they struggled to shoot it in that gym in the district tournament, right?
But it's a good jumping gym.
Good jumping
It's a
gym.
good jumping gym.
It's got springs in the floor.
And that's what it feels like.
Really? It's
It-
like
it
one of those.
does.
It's one of those squishy
And
floors.
and people don't believe that, but as a former basketball player, you could always jump. Some of the floors you could just get more bounce off of.
Yeah.
And Hart County is one of those. It's a new gym, and the reason I say that, the twins at Caverna, I mean, they can dunk,
Yeah.
but they were doing stuff that they never do at Hart County. I mean, it's like they played way more above the rim.
Yeah.
But when you take, I'm not saying that LaRue's not athletic, because they are.
Yeah.
But as you laid the foundation for a while ago, Bardstown is athletic.
Yeah. They have quickness, not just the ability to rise to the hops or whatever. They have that lateral quickness also. That is, I think, the thing that usually in high school is the bigger benefit. Being able to jump out of the gym is all well and good, but if you can't cover any ground, then it's hard to defend.
I tell my kids in football, speed kills.
Yeah.
In every sport.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see how that one plays out.
Now, in the 4th region, in that 14th district final, Warren Central reminded Bowling Green that they were just that much better than them and everybody else, probably maybe in the state.
Is it disrespectful to just yawn when we talk about the boys' 4th region? Something terrible
Well,
has to happen. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying like an injury or that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Warren Central, somebody puts a lid on the basket in both halves for them to not go to the state tournament. And not only to the state tournament, I think I don't see anybody in the state beating them. Just
That reminds me, mentioning Kate Unseld, something I wanted to back up to. You have those, I think it's Cat's Paws, does those preseason, top players in the region, top teams.
didn't have him mentioned, did they?
No.
Nowhere.
No. And I get why people have not talked about him, because he's the underclassman on this team of seniors. But obviously they've just not watched him play basketball.
I mean, he'll take over a game anytime he needs to.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it. It's like why doesn't he lead them in scoring or rebounding? Because they don't need him to. I mean, they got all these other dudes, and so whenever he needs to, he will. But for the most part, I mean, look, last year when we were in the regional tournament, I don't remember if it was the second game or the championship game. He had like a 5-minute stretch where he might have been one of the best high school basketball players I've ever seen in terms of his size, his ability to shoot, handle the ball, rebound. He did it all in that 5-minute stretch. And when I say that, I saw Al Jefferson when he played in high school. I saw Travis Outlaw, Jonathan Bender, Jason Campbell, who played quarterback for the Raiders. I saw all these dudes play in high school. Of course, seen dudes here in Kentucky who have played. When you take the total combination of his size and his skill, I was like, come on.
It's unmatchable. So tonight, Barron and Metcalf play, and Bowling Green and
somebody.
Bowling Green play. Who are they playing?
See, you don't think it's that important, do you?
It's really
They're playing Todd County Central.
It's not. And I'm sorry, but it's not.
I do think, after I saw Bowling Green and Barron play a few weeks ago,
Barron can beat Bowling Green.
I do think this is a year where it's not clear that it's just Bowling Green and Warren Central. I do think there's the potential there for Barron to get a run to the finals.
I saw Warren Sunday. Mm-hmm. Coach Cunningham shook his hand, told him congratulations, good luck, and I think you can make it to the finals.
Yeah.
And he said, I appreciate your confidence. But I meant it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to go game by game. I'm going to say Barron County will win tonight and upset Bowling Green, and it'll be Barron County and Warren Central in the finals.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
I can. Because
can we agree on that?
I can see that. Because, like I said, after I saw them play Bowling Green in that game, I was like, they can do this. The gap is not so terrific.
To where it can happen.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, Eli Brooks has had an outstanding season. That might have been his best game he's played all year when he played Bowling Green. Aiden Miller is a problem in a lot of different ways for guys. And since then, Tate Spillman's played real well. Mason Bunch has come in and hit some big threes. Bray Bewley's running the point well. And Carson Beckham at any point in time can hit 6 threes on you. So, I mean, they've kind of found a formula that's working real well for them. It really all starts with Brooks and Miller, but those guys are problems in their own right. And Bowling Green's not the best shooting team this year. I mean, if Deuce Bailey's not hitting shots, they don't really have another shooter.
But really, everybody's playing for a consolation prize.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy being runner-up. Hang on runner-up banner this year because you're playing the state champion.
Thank you guys again for coming out and watching with us. And James, we will have some more action next week. Mm-hmm. And you guys can follow us on our social media pages if you want to get updates during the games of these regional tournaments.
Yep. Ours is 1047 The Score on Twitter. And then we got an Instagram page too that I post videos on. So that's same name.
Ours is KY Sports TV, kysports.tv, and we have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, but I usually run during the games. I'll do a thread and give updates on my personal Facebook page.
All right. Yep, this has been Tell Me About It on Glasgow EPB, local channel 6, the local channel. and Glasgow EPB YouTube channel.